I'm glad nobody's on yet. Let me see if I can mute this guy. Try it now. Okay. Where's that coming from? Is that coming from my iPad?
It's coming from you.
Alright, this is not working. Oops. All right, that didn't work out as planned. I was trying to run a backup on my phone here. I probably should not have actually connected to the event because I was getting some funky feedback there. Uh, as long as I don't officially join, I should be good. Comments are coming up here. Feedback from the mic, mute mic. Yep, okay, we've got it all taken care of. Man, what the heck was that? Now it's time to put my other earbud in. All right, folks, let's see here. We are a couple of minutes after 7, 2 minutes past my usually favorite starting time. And I see we have a couple people that have joined us on the call here. Thank you very much for joining us here on the South Carolina NORML Cannabis Conversation, which happens every Wednesday at 7 p.m. I want to kind of give you a quick heads up. VP, our co-host, is not available tonight. She's kind of a little under the weather. I think she may be joining us in the background as a viewer, so it won't be nearly as dynamic tonight as it usually is with VP on, but I'll do my best to kind of toe the line and get us through this. This is the second Wednesday of the month podcast. On second Wednesdays of the month, we do our public monthly meeting, our regular monthly meeting, available not only to our members but to the public. And I see VP is here with us. Hey, I hope you're feeling better. Take some time and rest. Drink some warm tea. I don't know, generic freaking advice. Take care of yourself. That's all I say. Um, So anyway, let me kind of kick things off the way we normally would, and that is to scroll up, find those freaking banners that I'm looking for, and kind of welcome everybody to the podcast. And whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, or I think it goes to Twitter as well. As always, all of our meetings are an environment of education and awareness, and are not an open market for the sale, purchase, or distribution of cannabis. And we do not encourage or condone illegal behavior of any kind. All right, and yes, she's taking it easy. You you get there. You get there. All right. I also want to remind everybody out there, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at SCNormal, and also follow VP at Vaughn Postema on Instagram as well. Last but not least, in our welcome, I like to remind people, please support our sponsors. Go ahead and visit the SCNormal sponsor page. You go to scnormal.org/pages/for-sponsors. And if you'd like to be a sponsor, contact us through our contact page. All right, let's see. Where are we at? We're going to hide that. We're going to click that. We're going to click on another one. Intro and agenda. All right. This is where I usually like to kind of throw it off to Vaughn and say, Vaughn, what are we talking about tonight? And by the way, while you're watching, Vaughn, I was in that document on Google, and it's a view only. I can't edit the Cannabis Conversation run of show document. So anyway, I got a backup plan. I have it tucked away somewhere else here on what we're doing tonight. As always, on our second Tuesday or second Wednesday of the month. Sorry, it's been a long time since we've done second Tuesday. Second Wednesday, we're going to start with our national legislative news, and not a whole lot on that today. State legislative news. There is a little bit of news, and session started yesterday. Of course, we'll talk a little bit about chapter business and committee reports. Not really, no reports, and also upcoming events. So that is our intro and agenda. Let me just see if there's any other comments here. Just a reply to my comment about not being able to edit that document. Thank you, VP. I appreciate that. Well, let's get back to it. All right. Boom, 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 boom. We're going to click there, national news. U.S. Congress, new Congress session started January 3rd. I'm a little baffled. I was actually preparing to talk more about state news today, this evening, but I knew that we always start with national news. So I decided to head on over to congress.gov. And now I don't have that page open here for some reason. And let me go ahead and share this with you just so you can sort of see what I'm doing. I'll go ahead and share window. Which window? This window. Here we go. There we go. This is congress.gov, and I figured, well, we're in the current Congress. I'd like to know about what legislation going on with marijuana there is. Typed in marijuana. Oh, well, first off, I guess it helps if you spell properly. And basically what I got here was nothing new per se. I'm going to kind of show you over here in the Congress. You'll see, and I'm going to click the open more, show more. What started on January was the 118th Congress, which basically run 2023 to 2024. This shows us an option of the 117th Congress, and if you look at all of these different bits of legislation here, these are all 117th Congress. Now, I apologize, please bear with me, but I'm not real well educated in how some of this kind of stuff works. I know, like, probably if I did a here and went to the States Reform Act, let's see if what we pull up on that. Oh, I had it up earlier. Now, up there, I see it down here. Funny how you type those exact words in under legislation and it ends up, the title of the bill is fifth one down. Again, this is Nancy Mace's bill. One of the reasons I bring up Nancy, I am in her district, and it is a viable descheduling bill at the federal level. We support this bill, I must say. But you see it says here 117th Congressional District, or 117th Congress, not district, 2021-2022. So I'm not sure what exactly is going on with the federal government page and why it hasn't been updated yet, why we're not getting. I do have a box here, check for Congress for the 118th Congress, and let's just check titles here. Nope, it is not included, so it is only included under the 117th. So there's not really a lot I can talk about on new legislation if I don't really know what's new, what's going to carry over. My understanding, like with the States Reform Act. Let me just pop that one open here real quick if it'll let me. Nope. But it shows that bill as introduced. One thing nice I like about this, it will tell you a little bit more if something's been introduced, has it passed the House, passed the Senate, to the President, become law, blah, 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 what stage it's at, that they became law. So, anyway, I don't exactly know what to say about national news. For this main reason, because I don't know what's carried over and what hasn't. I'm assuming now, just an assumption here, but pretty much I'm assuming that all the bills that were being worked on in the last session are going to either carry over, but I don't know if this is something similar to, like South Carolina, where the bill needs to be reintroduced. So are they redrafting some of these bills? For this reintroduction? Good example. Could Nancy States Reform Act actually be coming back as States Reform Act, but maybe with some tweaks in it, some language changes, something they may have learned in the meantime that makes sense to modify the document. I don't know that. So if you do know, leave some comment in there. Leave me a comment, let me know. But again, there's not a lot I can really talk about. I'm assuming we're still going to be talking about the same legislation in the 118th Congress as we've been talking about in the past, and that's going to be like the MORE Act, the Cannabis Opportunity and Administration Act, and Nancy's bill. These are really the three that there are to watch. The States Reform Act. I don't know why I always call it Nancy's bill, but that's what it is. So anyway, I guess if there's no questions or comments at the moment on what's going on nationally, I am going to kind of shift gears here a little bit, go back to our fun little clicker, and change the banner. We'll talk a little bit about state news instead. That is a little bit more interesting, and again, a bit more information that I can share with you on that one. Let me just kind of click out and change tabs here. All right, now I've got one discrepancy here. When I go through Bill Track 50, I'm showing a total of 12 bills found with the word marijuana in them, based here in South Carolina. Interestingly, I like to follow up those searches because I can, some of you may be able to verify this with me. Vaughn maybe has tried some of this too. If you go in through Bill Track 50 and you click on whatever bill it is, it'll give you the summary and you can click through the different tabs and get the full text. But what I like about, let me switch tabs here, scstatehouse.org and their search method, you can go in, and I'm going to backtrack and just sort of show you where this is from the home page. You can log in, come over here to the quick search, type in the word marijuana, click on the legislation radio button, and then click on the little spyglass to search. And in South Carolina, as of today, you'll see we have 13 matches. 13 out of 13 matches over here. So one different than they're showing on Bill Track 50. So I'm not quite sure what the deal with that is. The one bill that I have found that is additional to Bill Track 50 is Senate Bill S41. And we'll go ahead and actually talk about all of these bills briefly right now. Let me just take one more look. Any comments, questions? Nope, we're good to go. Okay. I do not have them written down in my notes based on this search. I think I have them written down more in line with this search. But just from the past, and we've used this quite often. And one of the things I like about this search is it actually highlights the word marijuana, the search word or search phrase or whatever, will highlight that in red for you. You can actually go ahead and let's say S211. This is Mia McLeod's descheduling bill at the state level in South Carolina. I'm going to go ahead and click that open. And you will just see that search word highlighted all over the place in this particular document. There's some of these pieces of legislation, and let me just kind of backtrack here for a second. See if I can find 3003. Here we go. Where I think this one was a little bit more challenging to find the word marijuana in the text. And you'll sort of see this is, as I scroll through, a bunch of words and stuff to read. But look, stands out, you know, that highlighting in red really makes the word marijuana stand out there. And that way you can find what article it's in and sort of figure out what it is talking about. Scroll through, and that is actually the only one word in there. But I like Bill Track 50 in some regards. I have to learn to use it a bit more, and my understanding is there is a notification feature that tells you when new bills with your search phrases show up. I haven't figured that out if there really is or isn't, but I do use that for some initial searching, and then I like to switch back over to State House because I just like the way it works a little bit better sometimes. All right, let's see here. I'm going to click over. I see some comments. We got Joey. Joey, what's up, family? Finally made it. Woohoo, Joey. Thank you, bro, for coming on out. Yep. Vaughn saying the search functionality is super useful. I use it a lot. And yeah, it is. It's super useful. You can use a particular word that you might be looking for, do your search for that specific legislation, and then look for those highlighted search words. And also, hey, Joey. You see Vaughn's in the comments today, too. So she's welcoming you. Thanks for joining us. All right. Let me go ahead back to this just a little bit since I didn't really talk about any one piece of legislation directly yet. Let's go ahead and talk about this one because this one's kind of interesting to me. S211. Did I open that before? Yes, I did. I'm going to just go back to this one. All right. S211, basically, and the brief on this, it is a bill to amend the South Carolina Code of Laws by amending Section 44-53-190 relating to the Schedule 1 as to remove marijuana from Schedule 1 by amending Section 44-53-370 relating to prohibited acts, penalties as to provide that the penalties do not apply to the possession of marijuana by amending Section 44-53-370 relating to prohibited acts, penalties as to provide. Boy, that's just like a repeat of the same thing. The amounts that the person at least 21 years of age may be legally possessed to provide that marijuana may not be consumed in any location that prohibits tobacco, and provide for the licensing of marijuana cultivators, production manufacturers, and marijuana retailers, to provide the regulatory framework for the operation of marijuana cultivators. Oh, and then it goes and repeats it again. Or am I just reading it again? Okay. To provide that counties and municipalities may prohibit within their jurisdiction the operation of cultivators, production manufacturers, and retailers. To provide that restrictions on product labeling and advertising. To provide penalties for violations. To pardon convictions of crimes decriminalized by the provision in this act, and to define necessary terms. Whew! Sorry, there was a lot to that one. Hey, we have TJ Entra in the house. Hey, TJ, thank you for welcome. Thank you for joining us. Boy, the mouth and brain are just not connected tonight. And I see we have Hemploid here, who was earlier when we first got started, the first one on tonight. Let me know I was having some major mic feedback tonight. Thank you for that, Hemploid. All right. So anyway, Senate Bill S211. This is a sponsored bill by Mia McLeod. I am not seeing co-sponsors on this bill. And what can I say? It's a descheduled bill for South Carolina. I guess the one thing I can say is this is not the first time that Mia McLeod has filed this language in a piece of legislation. She's done it before. I follow Mia on or Representative Senator McLeod on social media. Interestingly enough, because you'll hear me talk quite often and say, oh, well, this is a democratically sponsored bill in a Republican-controlled legislature. It will go nowhere. But I just saw her post a day or two ago. Apparently she's gone independent. She has left the Democratic Party. I believe I saw another legislator do that as well, or at least past legislator kind of move away from the Democratic Party. But anyway, you'll be seeing actually from us in not too distant future here an action alert on this one. We're going to want you to kind of contact your legislators, let them know in the Senate. Let's go ahead and move Senate Bill 211 forward. Of course, what happens when they're first introduced is they're going to be assigned to a committee. And then from there, it is the chair of that committee that decides if it ever moves, see the light of day, if it ever does anything. So S211, keep that in mind. Mark your scorecards on that, if you will. I'm going to go ahead and switch off to our next one here. And that is S277, sentencing reform. Hang on, where is that in my notes here? I have a 227. Oh, I wrote it down right. Okay. I may not have had my glasses on. 277. And that was basically a sentencing reform bill. That was sponsored by Malloy. As a Democrat. Let me go ahead and open that bill. We'll take a real quick look at that one. And somewhere down in here. Oh man, we're going deep. We're going deep. I'm still scrolling, folks. There we go. We found it. Boy, I love that highlighting. All right. So basically what's happening in some of the sentencing reform is they are changing the amounts of cannabis when they are enforcing these laws. So here you see that it goes from 28 grams or 1 ounce of marijuana in this particular line, which is part 4 of a person who violates subsection blank with respect to. So the violation no longer is 1 ounce, it's now 10 ounces in this particular portion. Instead of 10 grams, it's 100 grams, and so on. So they're increasing the numbers before they're enforcing some of these things in sentencing. Instead of 10 here, it's 20 pounds for knowingly sells. And then that is, and I believe that one ties into a couple of other bills that we have here, some of the racketeering bills, where they're talking about trafficking and racketeering. They're actually tend to be doubling the numbers in a lot of the legislation for the amount of cannabis. somebody needs to have with them before they are, before they are saying that you've now ticked the level over into this next category. Phew, man, took a while to find them. There's some stuff down there, but anyway, not really a bill you'll be seeing an accident alert out there from us on. God, where is a tab to pull on the side? Oh, there we go. Pull on the side. I can be back up to the top of this one. S277. Relating to restitution hearings so as to require that the court must take into consideration the financial resources of the defendant and blah, 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 blah. You saw the size of that. And that wasn't even the full text. Look here. Here's the link for the full text. Oh, my goodness. And this is just like the summary of it. It's going and going and going and going. Anyway. If anybody really wants to deep dive onto that, or can't sleep at night and needs some sleeping material, I suggest S277 from the South Carolina Senate. Man, that was interesting. All right, let's move on here. H3226, we talked about this just the other week. This is the Put Patients First Act. This is sponsored by... boy, I've got my notes completely different than that stuff. But this is sponsored by Rutherford and Kilmartin. I don't remember Kilmartin's name being on there. Anybody know offhand if Kilmartin is Democrat or Republican? I would be curious. I'm going to look that up real quick. J. Kilmartin. Standing against the Biden administration, I'm assuming that he is a Republican. So that's interesting. I didn't notice that one on that bill before. I thought that was just a Rutherford bill. Interesting. Let me just check this other spot here. Republican Lexington. Nice. That gives it at least some sort of shot in here. Okay, yep, I see VP's trying to jump on it for me here. We've got yep, he's a Republican from Lexington County. So you got me covered there. Excellent stuff. All right, let me get back to where we were. That is H3226. That is the Put Patients First Act. This is one you'll definitely see. Actually, I think there may even be a preliminary action alert out there from National. I shared some links to that the other week. I don't have them in front of me right now. This is one I would love to see, move forward. I don't know why this looks so cramped over here on my screen. For some reason, it looks like it's cropping stuff off here. But enacting the Put Patients First. It's a medical bill. I want to say, if I remember this bill from last session, it included home grow, it included flower. I would have to deep dive on it further. If South Carolina were to get a medical bill, I'd much sooner see it get this one. So again, there is an action alert out there. I will be sharing the links to that again on our site and through our social media, so keep an eye out for those. The 3226 House bill. All right. Yeah, I thought that was a Rutherford only bill. Maybe that was last year and Kilmartin has joined in. If we get some legislators reaching across the aisle on this, he'd be interesting to talk to. It may have a chance to move in committee. It may never get out of committee, but it might have a chance to at least be heard. Um, oh, keep your fingers crossed on that. Let me go back to our list here. Another one on the list here as we go down the list is H3561. Pop that open over here and see what my notes say about 3561. Oh, I like this one. This one is a decrim bill. This one is sponsored by Ivory Thigpen, Democrat, and Jordan Pace, Republican. So again, it is a co-sponsored bill. I think that's big for us that we can get a bill out there that is sponsored by members of both parties. Now it's a matter of getting co-sponsors on there, that kind of thing. I would love to see South Carolina move forward with a decrim. I have not looked into penalties on this. Because I'm doubting it is a no fine, no time, no court cost. There's probably going to be like a parking ticket type fine on it. But I'd have to dig deeper into it to find out. I guess now is a good time to to mention our lobby day coming up. We have invited Nancy Mace to come. Apparently, it's been a struggle getting through to her office. The person I had been in contact with apparently is no longer there. I reached out again the other day. I did get a new contact over there at her local, I want to say West Ashley office, and put a request in again for her to attend our lobby day on the 25th. I did get a response back this time. And the response was, she's scheduled to be in Washington, D.C. that day, but she may see this request relating to cannabis, relating to her State Reform Act, and she may fly back for it. We'll keep you posted. So that's my message to that one on you. We'll keep you posted. Also, when I saw that Jordan Pace was a co-sponsor of this decrim bill, it again fit our agenda. I have not, after I think 3 or 4 attempts to his different contact through social media, through the SC State House website, have not gotten a reply from his office yet. I believe I left a message on his home phone, as they call it, which is usually their home office. Because when I tried to call one at State House, it came up with some name that I had never heard before, and it was saying you've reached blah blah blah, and it wasn't Jordan Pace. So anyway, I wanted to bring that up because Jordan Pace is a co-sponsor of H3561, a bill to deschedule marijuana in South Carolina. One that, again, I believe there's not yet. There will be an action alert coming out on that one very soon. We want to push that forward if we can. Let me kind of stop here for just a second, take a look, see if there's any comments that we want to talk about. Okay. Reminder that this bill doesn't include flower. I'm assuming that was the Put Patients First bill. Correct me if I'm wrong. DJ Gamecock says Mia just switched from independent or Democrat to independent, which we did speak about just a little bit earlier this evening, right as we kind of started the call. Yeah, she has left the Democratic Party and has switched to independent. So I'm not sure exactly how that will affect the bill in committee. She's a pretty powerful legislator, so I'm not. I think she's going to be better off as a dependent. But anyway, we'll find out. Gamecock, DJ Gamecock saying she took some heat over that from Rutherford. I have not heard any of that yet, but I'd be interested to hear what heat. I don't know. I think she made some good points actually in her the post that I saw that the Democratic Party hasn't won a governorship in over 20 years in South Carolina. So maybe she's making the right move. She wasn't supported by the party, I don't think, as well as Cunningham had been. And again, like I say, she's a powerful legislator here in the state. So, all right, and let's see what VP's got here. So this is the quote she just read from Rutherford. If she's going to leave, she should probably resign her seat, run against it again as an independent, and see if she wins. Anyway, I don't know. I think Papa actually is probably beneficial for her proposed legislation, if nothing else. And if it's beneficial for her proposed legislation, at least a couple pieces that we'll talk about tonight that she has sponsored. I didn't get to that one. Okay. Then it's good for the people of South Carolina. So we'll see how this all plays out. Politics. As Frank Zappa used to call it, it is the entertainment segment of the military-industrial complex. Yep, politics, the entertainment. It wasn't segment, but you get what I mean. All right, so this is H3561. Where was I? Think pin paste. Decrim bill. Watch for that one, folks. That is definitely good. Let me get back out of here. Go back to where we were and talk a little bit about H3135, marijuana decriminalization for veterans. If I recall, this was the other Rutherford bill. By Rutherford that we spoke about just the other week on our conversation. I think this was sort of one of the things where Vaughn was talking about the buckets of people. They're trying to help this bucket of people and that bucket of people, and how about helping all the people in the state? But again, possession of an ounce or less decriminalized for vets with a diagnosis of PTSD, of I guess war-related, service-connected PTSD. So that's H3135. Again, one Democratic sponsor on that. I don't think I saw any of Rutherford's marijuana legislation ever even get a hearing in committee last year. So we'll see. All right, now here's something I just want to sort of point out. 13 out of 13 matches. Yesterday was the first day of session. The first day of session 2 years ago was when Tom Davis submitted his compassionate care bill. This year, we had the House version submitted early by Herb Kurzman, Carter, Taylor, Kilmartin, and Hanganen. I think they've sort of added some sponsors. I don't remember that many. I don't have that many written down. And I'm assuming, somebody can maybe correct me if they know more about it, they assume that this is basically just a carbon copy of what we are kind of left with of Tom Davis's bill last year. Made a photocopy of it, plopped a new frickin' bill name on it, submitted it again. And as you remember last year, not last year, but last session, that's kind of how it started with them too. Peter McCoy was the one that used to submit the House version companion bill until Peter went on to other things. It's been Tom Davis who's been the kind of driver of this quite a bit over the past 8+ years. So I guess what I'm getting at is I'm a little bit surprised as we have H3486, Compassionate Care Act, in the House version submitted, but we have not, as of yet, 2 days basically into session, Tuesday and Wednesday, have not seen the Senate version of the Compassionate Care Act yet. Again, I think there's already a action alert on this that we'll be modifying and sharing with you. And we will be watching. I was watching, actually, I've been refreshing my screen a lot today, waiting to see the Senate version of this thing come out. And I have not yet seen it. Take a peek at the time. All right. All right, I'm going to quick go back to comments here now that I'm done talking about that one and see where we are. Okay, DJ Gamecock confirming that Rutherford's medical bill does include homegrown and flour. Joey's got, I tweeted Senator Davis asking when he'd be filing. He replied, this first week in session. I'm surprised it wasn't yesterday, but yeah, I expect it to really come out soon. Thank you for that, Joey. I appreciate your response on that one and updating me on that. I do want to say, and I don't really want to harp on this a whole lot because I don't think it's beneficial for the legislation or anything, but I did see a news story where Tom Davis did get arrested for public intoxication on New Year's Day. From my perspective, I thought it was pretty responsible of him the way he handled it. From my understanding of it, he was at a gathering, left the gathering, a little bit down the road, felt, hey, I really shouldn't be driving, and pulled over and parked his car. And from the story I read, or from his commentary on it, was that he was there for more than an hour just sitting in his car until law enforcement came by and found him there. And then, so I thought he was responsible. He pulled over. He did the right thing. Being arrested by any legislator does put a little smudge on their on their reputation, and so although I doubt we'll really get any feedback from this in this on our legislation, it's something you got to wonder about. Yeah, will something else happen? All right. Oh, DJ Game Talk says, and it allows patients to share medicine without being guilty of a felony and 5-year jail sentence and or $5,000 fine, which we all know is in the Compassionate Care Act. If you allocate cannabis outside of the system, it's a federal offense. And the funny thing about it, it makes no amount. So that simple possession of a joint now is a 5-year, $5,000 felony. All right, and again, Joey says he asked Senator Davis if anything's changed, and he replied, very little, not a quote. But yeah, I don't expect much of that legislation to have changed from what it ended as last session. Josh is here. Hey, Josh, man, how you doing? Josh says Betty wishes he smoked a joint instead of drinking all that booze. I like that statement. I don't want to say any more than that. And of course, DJ Gamecock follows it up with no kidding to Josh. All right, let's kind of move on now that we're done talking about the Compassionate Care Act stuff for a moment. That was here. S41. This is one I did sort of mention earlier, and when I was talking about one that I sort of didn't know where it came from, it wasn't on the bill track 50. S41 is basically a civil asset forfeiture reform bill, and it talks about law enforcement may not seize cash of $500 or less, or property or other assets of a value of less than $2,500. In addition, cash in any amount may not be seized solely incident to an arrest for possession of 28 grams or 1 ounce or less of cannabis. And it goes on from there. But that is the gist of it. That they're not going to be able to steal your hoopty or something like that and say, oh, we suspect this of being profits from crime. because you've got, or because you've got simple possession. And now they're saying you can't even use simple possession as an asset, solely as an incident for asset forfeiture. Um, and now I'm going to try and use my memory here. Uh, uh, I'm trying. I'm going to say it was probably 2 or 3 years ago. I was listening to, I want to say it was a union representative for the police. And he was being interviewed about asset forfeiture, civil asset forfeiture. And here's where the memory's not always working so good. I believe he said something along the lines of the average forfeiture is like $1,000 or less. Now, I've ranted and raved about this a number of times on the program or on our show, on our podcast, about these were laws that were kind of put together by the federal government to try and go after drug kingpins that were outside of the country that they couldn't get their hands on. So they wanted to, freeze their assets, take their assets, seize their assets. It wasn't for some dude on the, that you stopped on the side of the road, who happened to have a joint in the ashtray, and so now you're going to take his car and say, oh, we think you got this car because there's a joint in it. You were in this car through selling drugs. They really, local police really took that law out of context. Now, good thing, good law. S41, keep an eye on that one. And that is Kempson. That's a Republican-sponsored bill. Good thing. Let's move on from that one. I'm going to quick look at Alright. We've got VP and DJ Gamecock kind of chatting back and forth here about some of the details. Yeah, and Josh gets a put out there. A lot of times they're not going after people with money for their simple possession and stealing their stuff, because they have attorneys and they'll fight you and try and get it back. And that's the thing with civil asset forfeiture. No charges have to be filed. They could just say, we think, so we're going to take it, and now it's up to you to, prove otherwise. So you're guilty before, and I believe the South Carolina Supreme Court even found it to be unconstitutional, but it still happens. It hasn't changed, because it is unconstitutional. It's a violation of your Fourth Amendment. They're saying they're taking the assets and it has nothing to do with you. But yes, they're taking your stuff. All right. Let's see. Where were we here? S212. Okay, there's the other one I was kind of looking for. This was kind of an interesting one. I'd love to see move forward. Again, this is another Mia McLeod bill. Does she have any co-sponsors? Not that I see. S212, basically this is just a legislative advisory referendum. This means if we would push this bill through and it would pass, they would put a state advisory referendum on the general election ballot at the general elections in 2024, so it's almost 2 years out, to determine whether the qualified electors of this state, the people of this state, favor legalization of marijuana for medicinal and recreational purposes. So again, this bill has no legislative power per se, except to say, put this question on the ballot. And by answering the question, the people, all they're going to get is a tally of their answers. It's not like the states that say, Yeah, here's a referendum. Do you want legalization of recreational marijuana? Vote yes, vote no. We don't have that option under the South Carolina Constitution. So the best we can do is an advisory referendum to ask the people, would you like this? Not, not saying we're going to do it, but we're going to ask. Um, so this is a good one. I'd like to see this move forward. I'd love to see it on the ballot. We've seen it on primary ballots because primary ballots are split by party, not about recreational, but about medical. Only on the Democratic primary ballot. We've never seen it on the Republican primary ballot that I'm aware of. Um, so this would put it on the general ballot, allowing people from both parties to answer the question. you know, do I see it moving forward? All right. I got a die 20 somewhere around here. If you're an old D&D player, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, that's surprisingly high. I got a 15 out of 20 that it might at least, be heard in committee. Let's see how that prediction comes out. All right. Let me go ahead and close that one up, and we'll get back on this one. Before I do see we have another. Oh, let me go back and see something. 5 sponsors in South Carolina House now, was only 2 recently. I'm not sure which bill you're talking about on that one. VP, haha for my D&D role. Oh man, it's been a long time since I played D&D, but um, here it is. This is my little bag of dice. Um, I got, all kinds of different size in there, but yeah, my die 20 I pull out, and even here on my desk I do have a rogue of some sort. Yeah, I'd love to play a campaign again. That'd be fun. All right. Let me turn that back. And we've got DJ saying, wish they would make a law for out-of-state visitors or dual resident medical card holders not to be. I'm assuming not to be arrested if you're visiting and you have your card and you're caught with a little cannabis. That would be interesting to see. Okay, people from out of the state, you can kind of get away with it because your state says you can. I don't think South Carolina would do that. All right, where were we? 212, and that was the referendum. S-153. This is about trafficking and fentanyl. Is there another one that tied to? No, not really. Not something that we're really going to kind of get into on this bill. Let's see where we have it. Marijuana is mentioned in this, but okay, yeah, you're in violation if you have more than an ounce of marijuana. And I think this one, what did I say? This is 153. I'm sure it's like got to be tied with fentanyl distribution or something like that. And personally, I don't get fentanyl. I don't get opioids, so. Let me see if I can see what it's saying about weed in there. But anyway, it's not something that's really concerning to us a whole lot. This is more as fentanyl legislation and trafficking. All right. Anyway, no, we're not going to worry about that one there. 153. Oh, that's why I remember 153. That has got 3 sponsors on it, and one of them is my favorite, Sandy Sen. This is a young Gustafson Sen bill, all Republicans. Um, like I said, I don't get fentanyl. I don't understand a lot of this kind of stuff, but I'm still the type of person that believes that drug abuse and drug addiction should be a medical issue and should not be criminalized. Should not be a criminal issue. Um, there, I said it. So that's my position on S 153 at the moment. All right, let's kind of move on here. H3386. Oh, I like this one. Okay. I believe this is for people that are already on probation. And what this legislation is doing is to provide that there is no testing for the presence of marijuana. It may not be performed during the regular urinalysis and blood test performed on probationers. So that somebody's on probation for something that's not cannabis related, they can't just, if this legislation were to pass, they couldn't just go ahead and throw a cannabis test in there on your urinalysis. If, let's say, maybe they're testing you for some, I'd assume, other substances by court order. So yeah, I'm all about not invading people's privacy, especially about their medical use. So that was 83386. And who was the sponsor of that one? I forgot to look. That's another Todd Rutherford bill. Okay. Okay, we have 154, and I believe that combines with 303. That's down a couple here. 154 and 303. I'm going to kind of open those up side by side. These are, in essence, street gang and racketeering type legislation. A bill to amend the South Carolina Code of Laws by enacting the South Carolina Street Gang and Criminal Enterprise Prevention and Anti-Racketeering Act. And carbon copy on the House version, it looks like. Again, Young and Sen on the Senate version, both Republicans, and we have Bustos, McCarvey, and Pope on the House version of that. In essence, as you come on down here, you will find where it talks about marijuana. Section 1611, 617 relating to racketeering activity means to attempt to commit, or to solicit, coerce, or intimidate another person to commit a crime that is chargeable by the indictment under the following laws of the state. And that is the only place I see the word marijuana in there. But yeah, another way to try and jam you up and try and claim that you're racketeering or a street crime. Anyway, not a bill that we'll be supporting or pushing as well. So that's S154 and H3003. So do not be watching for action alerts on those. The Gamecock saying civil asset forfeiture was found unconstitutional in Horry County. We need to use that as a precedent to get the state court ruling that will make it apply statewide. See, now that's where I'm confused. I thought there was already a state Supreme Court ruling on that, that it was unconstitutional. And yet, after reading that, I saw nothing. Maybe it was this Horry County ruling that you're talking about. Yep. Anyway, then we're going to go to our last one here, H3 3045. And this is again another controlled substances and civil asset forfeiture type law legislation. This one again by Rutherford. No motor vehicle may be forfeited to the state under this item unless it is used, intended for the use, or in the manner facilitates the violation of 4153-370 involving at least 1 pound of marijuana, 1 pound or more of hashish. I don't like the way that sounds. Oh, okay. So basically, in the brief on this bill is so as to provide for the expedited return of certain property and money seized within forfeiture proceedings when forfeiture proceedings have not been instituted or charges have not been filed within 30 days of seizure. So again, another good piece of legislation to kind of combat this civil asset forfeiture epidemic, as I'll call it. But it doesn't really speak to marijuana legislation in the manner that we would support, pushing that particular bill with an action alert. All right, let me do one last refresh here on the State House site, but I'm doubting I'm going to see a 14th one here. I will be doing that refresh a couple times more during the rest of the week. And into next week, at least, if I don't see Tom Davis's bill, I'll keep on refreshing until I see it. We're going to kind of go down and break these down a little bit more with national and get those action alerts out to you in the not too distant future. Oh my goodness, crap almighty, it's 8:02. I've just run overtime. I'm surprised Vaughn's not going, hey dude, you're missing your mark. But we're going to stick around a little bit longer if you guys are with me here, even though I have a little piece of coffee cake waiting for me as a snack a little bit later on here. Because I do need to take a moment to talk about upcoming events. As you may or may not know, we are in the middle of our membership drive for 2023. We start that a little bit before Christmas. Hopefully we get some folks to buy them for Christmas presents for their loved ones who would love the support, but maybe can't necessarily, justify the expenditure. So hopefully they got some as a gift and maybe even received a fancy t-shirt with our logo on. But that is going on. That is going on through the middle of February. I want to say February 14th or 15th. I think 14th is our last day to sign up to be in, to get the freebie good stuff, which is freebie good stuff. You will get a packet of 5 of our stickers, a pocket constitution to stick in your pocket and carry with you everywhere so that you know your rights in case you ever stop by law enforcement, a button, if I can hold it the right way, our ever popular enamel leaf pin, and the book, Emerging Clinical Applications of Cannabis and Cannabinoids. Those are all free bonus items along with your membership this year during the drive. Also, if you join before February 14th, you will be entered into our drawing to get a copy of, can you see it back here? Dope Man, the board game. 3rd year in a row, we're giving away a copy of Dope Man. We are almost out of stock on those. We have also a $100 gift certificate from Healing Leaf Health and Wellness here in South Carolina. If your company would also like to donate an item to our drawing basket, please contact us through our website. And also, while I've got it here, I want to kind of point out, because I'm going to purchase and donate one of these to the basket as well, is one of what is called a vape trap. Apparently, this company was up in Myrtle Beach, created what is known as a sploof, And then apparently they went out of business and somebody else bought all their spoofs up and donated a bunch to us. And this is what comes in the container. Basically, it is a HEPA filter inside a little device that you will blow through. So if you're smoking something and you don't want to bother anybody else in your house or keep the smells in your house down, you exhale through this. The HEPA filter cuts all that stinky stuff. No smoke comes out the other side. It's pretty darn amazing. We do have them on our website for about $16, I think. I use one pretty regularly because I just don't want my house to smell. So, sploofs. I am adding one of these to the grand prize basket at the end of our membership drive. I'm going to put that over there as a reminder. Also, 8:06. We are 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away from our press conference and lobby day. I spoke about it just briefly earlier in the show, where we do have a couple of invites out there to a couple of I'll call them celebrity legislators, or at least influential legislators. I haven't gotten a positive response back yet. Our press conference may be just our normal board up there making our point and telling how we're going to move forward with our efforts to our efforts of harm reduction through decriminalization of cannabis. But we want you there. We want you there to come out and hold up one of these wonderful signs behind us as we're having our talk to the cameras and to the public and to our legislators. We want you there to hold up those signs and support and show that we're not alone in this. Also, we want you there if you feel like you want to talk to your legislators to kind of contact us. I'm going to go ahead and find a link here real quick and drop it in the comments where you can go ahead and sign up. I will just send you the link to our blog here, which then has the link to the sign up. I'm going to drop it here in comments. There we go. So we're running out of time on this, 2 weeks. So if you do want to talk to your legislator, go ahead and sign up today. I know that our Deputy Director, Kristen, has been really hustling and contacting legislators and trying to make appointments. Watching some of that stuff explode in our email box. So things are coming together. We will be there trying to reform these marijuana laws in South Carolina. Otherwise, that is all I've got for you tonight that I can think of off the top of my head, since especially we're running a little bit late. Before we end the call, I'm just going to throw it out there. If you want to leave a comment or have any comments or questions or concerns, drop it down there in the comment section, and we will try and address them before we end the call tonight. I do like this comment coming in from VP that she's glad to see that there are more bills that could benefit citizens as a whole. Absolutely. The descheduling bill, the decrim bill, there's definitely some bills in here that could benefit citizenry as a whole. Okay, then let me kind of do this other little thing here. Click this last button and go ahead and turn off my share screen. I just want to again say thank you all for watching, for joining me tonight. I always appreciate your input. I always appreciate you joining me and taking the time out of your busy schedule and away from your family to sit and chat with us here and talk about marijuana. As you know, we will be back here again next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. And the following Wednesday, Vaughn tells me we are looking at doing a 2-hour after press conference lobby day wrap-up. I'm not sure exactly on our dynamic on how that's going to work, if I'm going to stay up a little bit late in Columbia, or my guess is probably a lot like last year, I will head back here to Charleston, and then I will join in the podcast from here. But we'll see how it all plays out in a week or two. Let me take one last look at comments. We have Josh saying, if you don't want to talk to your legislation, you can stand by the road and hold the sign with Josh. We were out there last year holding signs, man, oh man. And no worries about the time. Ah, that's right, 8:10. I'm not worried. Am I? Anyway, thanks again for watching. I will be back here as always next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Oh, I got a nice offer to stay in the guest room at Josh's up in Columbia if we need to, so that's an option. VP, we got some talking to do about this extended show and how we're going to handle it. Anyway, that's it for tonight, folks. 8:11. I'm going to wrap it on up. I'm going to go find my coffee cake and the couch. Maybe a little puff or two. Again, thank you as always for being here. I do want to remind you to visit our social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Please like, share, subscribe. Click on all those buttons and like stuff and share them to your own page to sort of help our algorithms. And then we'll just see you right back here again next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Good night, all. Have a good one.